Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We're going to go ahead and get started, but before we do, we're going to ask that Councilman Heaton will lead us in prayer, and ask everyone please stand for the pledge.
Dear Lord, thank you for letting us to meet tonight. Be with us as we make decisions for this city. Let us make good decisions to help the city. Dear Lord, we want to see the city grow, and just bless the city and bless everybody in this room tonight. Amen.
Again, thank you all for joining us on this very hot evening. We'll go ahead and get started on our agenda items. And our first item would be to consider approval of the June 18, 2024 regular session minutes. If the council have had a chance to review the minutes, then the floor is open for a motion.
I make a motion that we approve the minutes.
A second.
All right, we have a motion made by Councilmember Redford, second by Councilmember Hinton. Madam Secretary, record a vote, please.
Aye.
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 Vote is unanimous. We'll now close item 1 on the agenda. Our second item would be public comments. The City Council welcomes citizens' participation and comments at all council meetings. Citizens' comments are limited to 2 minutes out of respect for everyone's time. The council is not permitted to respond to your comments. However, the Texas Open Meetings Act requires that topics of discussion, deliberation be posted on an agenda not less than 72 hours in advance of council meetings. If your comments relate to a topic that is on the agenda, the council will discuss the topic on the agenda at the time that the topic is discussed and deliberated. At this time, if we have anyone that would like to speak, please come up, state your name, address, and your concerns for the council.
Council, my name is Debbie Corbell. I live in the city of Mount Pleasant, and our interim city manager was not here the last time I addressed this, but I would ask that the council consider an appropriate plaque placed at the Mount Pleasant Sports Complex honoring the council, the mayor, the manager, and the people that were actually responsible for the vision, design, development, and implementation of the sports complex, and do so with an appropriate ceremony. And another issue, I've kind of heard that we may be looking to hire another planner for this city. I had hoped that those types of hirings would be delayed until a permanent city manager is hired. For the past few years, we've had so many administrative staff positions elevated to pulling down those $100,000, $120,000, and $140,000 salaries, as well as allowances. I believe that our primary focus now should be on bringing those salaries back down to a reasonable range, and either eliminating or combining some of the current positions. I realize that some employees have already left on their own, but there is still more that can be done to get our financial house in order. It's amazing that just over 4 years ago, we had staff that managed multiple jobs, duties, and departments and did it very well. I would also ask that when you start seeking citizen input about the charter amendments, that you keep our taxpayer dollars in mind. Keep those meetings here at City Hall where the council meets. The room's already ready, set up, audio, video, seating, and everyone knows where it is. Anyone who has wanted to say anything for the past 4 or 5 years has been able to come here and do so, as always before. As we saw during the response to the Anderson development, the PID issues, we saw it when people showed up in response to the mileage and reimbursement issues. We saw it way back even 3 or 4 years ago with the Pilgrim fencing issues and the noise complaints and all. We had housed a lot of people here. When you start moving meetings around, we are going to be paying overtime to staff to stay at those locations, set up, clean up after, whether you go to the Civic Center or the Pilgrim Center, and possibly having extra equipment to purchase. we're going to have to pay the IT people overtime as well, and we know that what that is costing us already. I ask this because we should always think of what we're spending, if it's necessary, when it comes to our taxpayer dollars. You can post all your information on the city website, you can put it on your Facebook, and keep the meetings here. Thank you.
Do we have anyone else who would like to speak at this time? All right, we'll close that section of the agenda and move on to item 3. Item 3 is to consider resolution 2024-9 supporting submissions of application for state funding for track and bridge rehabilitations. Judge Cooper, it's a pleasure to have you here today, sir.
The reason we're here tonight, Nate serves on the NETEX board for us with the railroad. Representative Dutton and also Representative Cole Hefner have worked with us on the NETEX rail, trying to get it upgraded. What it does is it brings it up a class. Am I saying that right? Right now, they're running at 10 miles an hour. If we can move up from a class 1 to a class 2 on the railroad there, it would put it to 25 miles an hour, which would really up the people that want to be on that rail. There's just a slight bit of it in Titus County, so we're not here to ask you what the resolution. Candace, you did give them that, right? So y'all all have that copy of that resolution that we're here to ask you about tonight. The county signed it, and Franklin County signed it. Judge Lee over in Franklin County will be signing it with their commissioners court. Sulphur Springs City Council is signing it. Also, the commissioner's court over there will be signing it. Judge Newsom, I talked with him, and Greenville signing it. What that is TxDOT has $30 million, and those nails that you'll look down there on, each one of them's got the year which that was drove into that cross tie. And I don't know, Sherry, maybe 41. There's some of them 49, 47. Y'all can see those. They're quite old. So our bridges, there's 70-something bridges between Titus County and all the way to Greenville that takes that rail there. TxDOT has got $30 million. That's what we're asking them for. The beauty of it is it don't cost us a dime. All it costs us is a signature in trying to get that. And people might say, well, why do you want that money coming for rail? If we get that rail, it helps on everybody. Any other industries coming in here, if they can get there to the rail, then carry it all the way to Greenville and then get it to the other side of Fort Worth very easily and very quickly. With it moving up to from 10 to 25 miles an hour from a class 1 to a class 2, would make that rail a whole lot more valuable for them and also for the NETEC people there. And that's the reason that we're here tonight, is to ask for y'all to sign that resolution as well as us to show that where we stand. The last time that they signed, they didn't get all the cities, they didn't get all the different counties to sign. So TxDOT said they didn't know if they really had the support from all the other counties and city agencies. So Representative Dutton and Representative Cole Hefner have asked us to come and ask for that resolution. We have already signed it with the county, and I hope to move that forward. With that, people don't understand the rail. If you get the rail system going, it takes about 3 to 5 trucks off of the interstate, 18-wheelers, if you've got that rail industry. Any place that you see, they want to know about rail. The big people that want to come to town, they want to know where the closest rail is and how we can get in contact with it. So that's why we're here tonight, is to ask for y'all to sign that resolution along with us that we've already signed, and the other counties will be signing, and hopefully to get that $30 million to upgrade that rail and those cross ties and bridges to carry us from a class 1 to a class 2. Any questions? Nate Mike can answer those better than I, but
it would be an ongoing thing, but it would probably 2 years.
no, we'll hear long before that, but it'll take over 2 years to get it
The time frame on
complete.
getting the rail fixed would be
About 2 years to get it upgraded to a class.
And when you
Yes.
think, we say bridges, there's only a couple of concrete bridges. The rest of them are archaic, old, beautiful old bridges, and they are not up to par.
So, along with Kelly's, question, when will the decision be made if we get the funding or not?
My understanding is that that will be before the first of the year, towards the end of the year, they'll budget that. The money is there. The money's not the problem. TxDOT has the money. It's just whether they allocate it to us or not is what we're waiting on that. But my understanding is before the end of the year, Sheriff.
Well, I appreciate you guys that have served so long. Nate, I mean, it's countless what you and your family, Judge, and various ones. It's a real labor of love, actually, for the benefit of the county, and I realize we all do what improved and ongoing rail service would mean to Titus County and Mount Pleasant and the industry here. So thank you for the nail, and thank you, Nate, for all that y'all have done to try to get us to this point.
All right, Judge, I feel like it is absolutely necessary. I mean, for industry, future companies and businesses, like you stated, as far as coming to town, that's part of it. That's part of your infrastructure. It can't be, you can't minimize the need for it. So I am definitely in support of it. I just want to let you know.
We appreciate that. And we want to understand, this doesn't help Preferred out there. They're a different rail. This is a smaller rail and can bring in new industry as well to that part of the county. But very well, like you said, very well needed. When they come and asking you EODCs, they want to know, do you have rail? Do you have water? And those things. So that's why we're here for.
All right, thank you, Judge. We have any further questions? All right, floor is open for a motion.
I make a motion that we pass the resolution for the state's funding for the track and bridge rehabilitation.
Second.
All right, a motion by Councilmember Hinton, second by Councilmember Spruill. Madam Secretary, call the vote, please.
Aye.
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 The vote is unanimous. We'll now go ahead and close item 3 on the agenda, and we'll move on to item 4. Item 4 is a consider resolution 2024-8 authorizing the city manager to execute documents relating to improvements at the Mount Pleasant Regional Airport.
Mayor, Council, I'm Paul Henderson, the airport manager. And that's exactly what we need to do, is consider this resolution 2024-8. This resolution would give signature authority to our city manager, Mr. Nyhoff, for this improvement of the 25 acres that we have at the airport that was purchased back in 2013, I think it was, for future hangar expansion. You say, well, what's so important about this 25 acres? It's the last high ground we've got. There won't be any more on the west side of the airport, which is awfully important. Are there any questions or anything?
This is what, a drainage improvement? Is that?
It is drainage improvement, a lot of dirt to be moved, 90,000 yards of dirt, a lot of RCP pipe, drainage pipe and inlets put in, but it's for future hangar expansion. At the end of all this, we should have lots, corporate lots available for 15 to 18 future hangars. And you say, well, how many lots do we have now? A little less than 2 years ago, we leveled a spot for 5 more hangars. 3 of them have hangars on them now. 4th one is leased and fixing to start construction, and we have 1 lot left out there. That's it. So this is really working out well. This is a good time to be doing this.
I have a question. I was reading this and where it talked about the total cost of the project, but it said that the city would be responsible for 10% of the total project, which comes to about $164,000, if I'm saying it correctly. But that's already budgeted. Wasn't that budgeted prior?
The city passed a revenue bond, and $200,000 of it was earmarked for this project, and we don't need but this about $65,000.
Of the 200.
How many possible hangars can be added to this 25-acre site?
maximum will be 18 because it starts falling off, heading toward the creek a little bit.
I've heard there's a waiting list currently for hangars. Is that true?
There definitely is a waiting list for, hangars that we lease out. The city owns 65 hangars that we lease out, but we've just about run out of room to build the smaller hangars. This is for corporate hangars, and we've got room for them. It's the T hangars and that sort of thing. We don't have hardly any more room there. But it's such a growth. I mean, to go from 23 airplanes in 2002 to 141 airplanes now is just phenomenal.
All right, thank you, Paul. Council, do we have any further questions? All right, floor is open for a motion on this item.
I make a motion that we pass this resolution, sorry, I turned the page. Resolution 2024-8 for the airport.
Do I have a second?
I second.
All righty, we have a motion made by Councilmember Redfern, second by Councilmember Hinton. Madam Secretary, record a vote, please.
Aye.
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 The vote is unanimous. We'll now close that item on the agenda. Our next item is item 5. Item 5 is a consider pay request number 2 from Schneider Electric for work on the water meter replacement project.
Mayor and Council, this is our water meter project that we have with Snyder Electric. This is for pay request number 2 for $129,450.49. Y'all have the pay item before you and the item summary, but this will replace meters that are about 10 to 15 years old. Some of them are a little older, and to upgrade them to an ultrasonic meter. Any questions?
Life expansion of the meters, we were discussing it, and we had questions about the life.
Well, the life expectancy of a meter, the older ones, because they were mechanical joints, mechanical driven, were about 10 years. The new meters that we're putting in are not going to be mechanical. They're going to be ultrasonic. So they'll have a 10-year guaranteed accuracy and a 10-year probated accuracy for the new meter.
All right, thank you. We have any other questions?
So, Mr. Racer, thank you. And we've been talking about this over the last week or so, and I know you've got representatives here that worked with us to do this project. So one of the things that I heard had been discussed was that there's an efficiency savings in these, whether it's energy efficiency, it's not really manpower efficiency, but maybe someone could just speak to that part of this. So, I mean, $4 million for meter replacement's a big number, it's a big project. And so maybe if someone could just speak to why there's some savings to the city by actually doing this.
Yes, sir. I was going to introduce them after this here was discussed. Ryan Wonders here and Craig Messenbrink with Snyder. And they got a small presentation they're going to do, and they're going to talk about the reimbursement program and stuff of that nature. Okay?
All right, thank you.
Mayor, City Manager, Council. My name is Craig Messenbrink, Program Manager for Schneider Electric, and I've got I think we have the presentation, and everybody has a copy of that. Myself, as the Program Manager, and then Ryan Wonder is the engineer of the project. And so before we get into this, Ms. Nyhoff, I want to answer that question on efficiency. And so, without Ryan diving in, because I think we've talked about this before, is that these ultrasonic meters have an order of magnitude greater accuracy. And so what comes out of that is that there's slippage in the old meters at low flow, and then that's going to be eliminated with this. It's not necessarily part of a residential thing. It really happens more on the commercial side, right? And in this case, the city of Mount Pleasant is a little bit different than a lot of the other cities in this area, because 80% of the water that you supply is to commercial customers as opposed to residential customers. The improvement of this from called AMI, an automatic metering system, is going to allow for every resident, commercial or otherwise, to have an app and be able to look at their usage on a real-time basis. And so that I know with Councilwoman Sproul, it's been mentioned before that under the current system, it's just read on a monthly basis. If there's a leak that's not detected, that just goes on till it gets read. And so this is something that the system will send automatic updates to the residents and those folks to identify those leaks ahead of time. And I think that has the potential to save money for the folks that are leaking, have leaking pipe burst kind of scenario. From the standpoint of efficiency, it's all going to be based on the meter accuracy, and especially on those larger commercial meters, is that there's so much slippage, a certain volume of water will come through the meter before it actually reads. And so it's going to be much more accurate in the future. With that, I'll run through this quickly. You have a copy of this. Are there any questions about?
I think we can go ahead.
I'll keep going. Just wanted to put it in there where, this project is started. I'll show you a timeline at the end, but we're 10% complete. So a little more than 6,000 meters. We have a little more than 600 installed at this point. The pay app that you saw was around 520 meters at that point, but that was because the pay app was being authorized on the 21st, or a couple of weeks ago. And so we're really at about a 10% project completion standpoint right now. Part of that in getting rolled up was making sure that we had that antenna and metering system, the AMI metering system, up and running fully. And that was, without that up and running fully, it would cause the city to have to double read on the short term while we were getting to that point. And so we're moving slowly in the beginning, but we're ramping up, and everything is moving forward quickly now. I want to give you a little indication of where we've been working to date on those 600 meters. It's maybe a little janky there, but the areas in yellow are all of the areas that we're currently working in or have worked in to replace the meters so far. So a little bit up in the northwest side of town and some in the southeast side of town. There's just a quick summary of what the savings calculations were. And Ms. Nav, you did mention that, from a staffing standpoint or from an hourly standpoint, one of the things that Ryan did in the beginning was, in the city staff, with the older system and the failing AMR, the readers were failing, is that they were having to read, Anthony, was at about 1,500 or so a month manually. So there was a lot of extra manpower involved in just getting the meters read and the bills out on a routine basis. That's all going to be eliminated now. It's all, again, remote. That uploads the signal to the antenna, it comes up into the cloud, and all of that is done automatically at this point. We put a little cash flow in there as well. There's a couple things I wanted to say, just from a professional standpoint, is that the team with Aaron and Anthony have been terrific to work with. One of the things that we've done dozens and dozens of these projects, and we generally turnkey and do the whole project. But as we sat down with Anthony and Aaron and his team, they, good, bad, or indifferent, they had a better relationship with Master Meter than we did. So out of Tyler. And one of the things that Anthony went and did was negotiated a return of some of the older meters that are being pulled out. And that actually saved the city about $400,000. So I want to congratulate Anthony on the work that he did to do that. And from our standpoint, what we agreed to do in a partnership standpoint is say, look, we're going to back that out of the project from our standpoint, but we're still going to cover the warranty and support on that moving forward, with the city direct purchase the hardware themselves. And so there was a savings of markup, there was a savings of, and then the savings that Anthony was able to negotiate, I think was terrific for the city. So what you see here is a little bit of a split, because we're just doing the install, and all the hardware has been purchased by the city. I think it's all in-house already. And so the hardware's here, and we're working to install it. I don't know if I jumped past. There's a slide missing, and it could be in your presentation. Somehow that one of the slides. Let me just talk. It's really it's page 2 of the handout that you should have, and it should identify the 6,029 meters that are being changed, the AMI software. One of the big things that is involved in the timing of this is the EPA's lead and copper rule that they came out with years ago, but the deadline is October of this year in order for all cities to report any lead in those lines before or after the meter. And so that's part of this process in the timing of this project, because I think what we talked about and what Anthony and team were talking about was this could potentially be $1 million just to do the survey. And so there's a deep discount because we're doing the meter replacement, and we're already opening up the box, cleaning everything out. Got a vacuum truck typically is there every day, cleaning out all the mud and debris so that we can see, inspect, photograph for the lead copper survey, as well as replace the meter itself. So that's a big thing, but a big component of the timing of this and why 2024. The benefits, the direct benefits are that, as I mentioned, the low flow accuracy is going to be improved significantly. There's going to be operational efficiency around the being able to eliminate the physical reads that are going on currently. There's improved transparency because everybody's going to be able to see what they have all the time. There's going to be reduced maintenance. These ultrasonic meters are not like the old mechanical meters. They don't have any moving parts. The odds, it's 10 and 10, as Anthony indicated. But I'm going to ask Brian to stand up. And what have you been hearing on the reliability of those ultrasonic meters long term?
Yeah, these new meters, and I say new, ultrasonic meters have been around for over 4 decades, but that technology really is a leap forward. And because of the fact there's no moving parts, that is why the manufacturers will offer that 20-year warranty. 10 years full, 10 years prorated. You know, with the regular conventional water meter, 100-year-old design, the warranties are 1 year on commercial meters and as much as 5 years on residential, but that's it. So that warranty tells you the confidence they have in the meters.
All right, thank you, sir.
All right. Keep up with me tonight. All right, that was the slide that shows the features and benefits down the bottom, and then the last one that I was getting to was this installs the backbone. This AMI system is really the backbone of the system for the future, and so this creates a system that, as the city grows, this is not going to take any more time technically from the folks in the water department, because all of that's going to be uploaded directly. right, quick slide just on what we do relative to our business model is to have a guarantee associated with this, and I think that was one of the things that was brought up initially when we were talking about this, is that we talk about, we do more than talk or estimate what the savings are. We will guarantee this moving into the future, and so we're gonna be doing some post-install measurement and verification, and especially on some of those commercial meters, because some of the commercial meters we didn't have access to in the beginning to pull. But in the end, it's basically a reduction of O&M, a reduction of, and a little bit of increase in revenue, and then that guaranteed savings would cover the cost over time. A little bit about us, Schneider Electric. I won't belabor this, but we've been doing this for a long time around here in Texas, 900 plus projects. And then marketing and public awareness. I think we've been waiting to unleash some of this as we get the AMI going, but we're going to have door hangers and different forms of communication so that all of the residents, commercial and residential and otherwise, understand exactly what's going on, know where to go to download the app or where to go online in order to pull this up and set themselves up very similar to probably what we're getting way too used to doing nowadays, is you're always logging onto some portal or website somewhere. But in this case, it's going to allow both residents and commercial users to do a lot more analysis on what their usage is, and what we are doing from an educational standpoint is trying to couple that with some conservation efforts. So in the end, it could be less water in some cases. It's not really going to impact the commercial users that much, but from a residential standpoint, we have a lot of marketing follow-up. This is the progress. Today, we're really at step 6 of 7, so we've been going at this for a while, more than a year. When we started the initial feasibility study and then presented the results to the administration, we did a workshop here for the council at that time, and then we've got a procurement methodology through TIPS. We're pre-qualified already through TIPS, and so that selection process took place. We went into an investment grade audit period until that investment grade audit formulated the project and the cost, and then from that we finalized a construction agreement. Like I said, there was this was basically a lot of that savings generated from what Aaron and Anthony were doing with Master Meter already. In construction right now, again, I was talking a little bit about a slow start, but we're ramping up. The crews are doubling in size, and so that weekly meter replacement volume is going to go up significantly as we go forward. Any questions?
I'll just ask you to come up, sir, so that the public can hear it.
Jimmy Vaughn. I'm sorry, I'm hot on this already. How many gallons of water is the household two folks use?
Per month, probably average 5,000 gallons.
But since y'all replaced that meter, I'm showing 9,200 gallons for 2 people, and it ain't worth a flip, because I hadn't even watered it.
Well, that's definitely something that we should be looking into. Yeah, because I have no data information, but I appreciate that comment. I just don't.
One of the good things about the new system, it gives you the ability to go in and look and see exactly when that water is being used. Does that water meter ever stop using water? So it's going to indicate there's a leak at that time. So we can go in and take a look at that, troubleshoot that.
Yeah, that was going to be one of the things that I was going to comment on, is that if, you're saying about two people, 5,000, and he's at 9, and these meters are supposed to be able to give us a heads up on any leaks or anything like that, correct?
Yes, sir.
So yeah, that definitely need to be checked into.
Definitely.
So will it show a flag? I mean, like if there is a leak, like in Mr. Vaughn's case, if there's a leak, will it?
Absolutely, Ms. Redfern. That's one of the features of this is you can set it up when you're setting up the account to say, look, if I see anything that goes 10 or 20% above what is normal usage, send me a text or an email. And so that system isn't up and running. It's just
Right.
getting up and running right
You can
now.
flag it for extraordinary usage, like 1,000 gallons a day. And it's also typical to set it up so that if that water usage never goes to zero overnight, it's gonna set up an alarm. It's a flag to say there's a leak in the property, which, there's a surprising number of people that are gonna have some amount of leak. The benefit to the new meters is they're gonna detect leaks that the old meters couldn't. They have the capability to read lower flow.
Mr. Now,
You say this is gonna go by an app. Where you gonna get your signal from, where the antennas, you're not running any wires through the water line.
So the meters are wireless. They have their own radio. Typically, that equipment, the telemetry equipment, is installed on the water main towers, so there's no direct wire connection. And then all that information is sent over to the city hall. That for the billing platform. So the city will have access to that data real time. Somebody with the watering billing department can help you look at that, see when is that water being used. And then also, you'll have the ability to go online and create your own account, take a look at that water yourself.
Reason why I asked, I live down lower place, but you go up about 4 houses, get full scale cell. It's in the ground, leaks full. So how you gonna get signal for me to read this thing, to find out where it's working right, or I gotta leave, or when I'm whatever? Cause you're not gonna have right. They hadn't been able to do it in 10 years.
The meters, they use a cellular radio frequency, but they don't use cell phone towers. They have their own radio equipment. So it's not using the cell towers. If the meter is buried and they have trouble with the telemetry, then they can set up the phone. So it'd be done by a case-by-case basis, but we expect both of them. When you go to your account to log in, you're not gonna read directly to your meter. You're gonna read to an online source that's gonna have the data.
all right, Mr. Nahal?
I think it is going to be very important on the marketing side and the education side because, I think if you think that, so if my toilet's running, it's running through all night long, it might, I think what you're saying, it might show up, it may not, depending on your usage, and every family is going to be different, obviously, so I think to have everybody understand when exactly you're going to get an alarm, it's not that you left your hose on during the day. It's going to be a significant leak. So I think the education to everybody is very important, and every family is going to use it differently, whether it's 5 or 9 or different numbers. So I do think the education process when we get there is very important. And then secondly is, you're reading those right now. So you put in the new meters and they're activated and working through the system right now. And so then I would just ask that we check his meter as well. Go out there and check his meter. Thank you.
So for pay estimate number 2, we recommend that you approve this payment.
Thank you, council. Do we have any further questions?
Yes, I do. What is our minimum usage for a household right now on our monthly? What is the set minimum?
I don't have that information at this time. I can get it for you, but I don't have it.
and on his concern about going from almost maybe 5,000 up to 9,000 plus. Is there a chance that he does have a defective meter, or was that 5,000 not accurate with the old system?
And that's a very good question, because with the old meters, like you said, if there's a low flow that was on there, it probably wouldn't picked it up. But now with these new meters, it will pick up every drop.
I just don't want him to overpick up.
Well, it won't overpick, but we'll look into it. We'll get his address and we'll check into it.
Yeah, so I guess what you were saying, Councilmember Sproul, was possibly the old meter. He was possibly using 9,000 the entire time, and the old meter wasn't picking it up. Yeah, it's just something that we'll have to look into and definitely get his meter in. So, because we want to be accurate and we want to make sure that everyone is serviced properly.
Is there a way for someone at home to check the accuracy of their meter?
Yeah, it sure can. And, these meters have registers on them, just like a normal water meter does. So you can go out and do a flow test, just like we would on any meter. So you can go put 2 gallons through it, 10 gallons through it, 100 gallons through it into a meter device. Could be a 5-gallon bucket, and you can confirm the operation out. You have to be very careful that when you're measuring the flow, that there's no other water that's happening at the same time, like a automatic ice maker or something like that would increase the volume that you would know about kind of behind the scenes.
Thank you.
Because if we have several more cases like this gentleman with a staggering increase, our PR to explain this just probably went off the Richter scale to try to get people to understand. I hope that's an isolated case.
I did want to ask on the slide that showed what has already been put in. When did y'all start putting those in? When were the ones that were north finished and the ones south?
The installation process started about 6 to 7 weeks ago, and again, it was starting slowly at the time because we were trying to get the antenna software and antenna system up and running, and so we weren't trying to prevent double work. So just in the last 6 to 8 weeks, almost all residential, yes.
Anthony, have you had anybody else with the big discrepancies, such as this gentleman?
No, sir, and this is the first one I've heard of it, or we would already checked it out. Also, if I just might add, with the split, the east and the west, the reason we're having to do that is because we have two billing cycles. So we have to work on the east side, we're in like billing cycle number 1, west side billing cycle number 2, so that's why you see the split.
Also, how quick can we get out there and check his meter? I'm concerned about that gentleman.
We'll probably check it tomorrow, yes, sir. I'm sorry, well, tomorrow's 4th of July, but if you want me to do it, I'll do it. I'm sorry, okay, we'll check it tomorrow.
And you're looking forward to that holiday, ain't you? Alrighty. We have no further questions, council?
Yes, sir, if you'll just call the 575-4000 number and give them your address and name, they'll get in touch with us.
And that's where you then hit water department.
Well, it'll actually be City Hall, and City Hall will then direct it over to the water department, they'll give it to us. Yes, ma'am.
All right, if there's no further questions, we'll go ahead and open the floor for motion on this item.
Make a motion to approve the pay request, number 2 from Schneider Electric for the work on the water meter replacement project.
I second.
All righty, we have a motion made by Councilmember Sproul, second by Councilmember Hinton. Madam Secretary, record a vote, please.
Aye.
Aye.
Vote is unanimous. We'll now close that item on the agenda. Our next item is item 6, consider task order for KSA for work on the Housing Authority water improvements.
Mayor and council, about a year ago, TCQ, we had a dirty water call. Sometimes you get those, we don't like them. But, so TCQ came down and done a inspection on that area. And they did find that due to the old cast iron lines, that the color was a little bit higher than the, required levels, and the iron. Now, this is not something that's gonna be detrimental to health, but it is a secondary contamination. We had already had this project put on for a grant, and during the process of the grant and stuff, he came and done the test on it. So it was recommended that we take action on it, which we'd already done, and we let them know that. So the grant fell through. So we had to take other steps to get the money. We do have the money allocated, and so we would like to consider for KSA Engineering to do this and to get it designed so we can get this thing taken care of and send a proper letter to TCQ and let them know that we've got it taken care of. And I would like to say that the engineer cost, I've got it at $99,000, but if you look at the sheet, it's about $57,150 for the actual engineering design and cost. And then there's like $40,000 for pay as you need. So what they'll do is like we have to go out to the paper, we have to go out to bid, stuff like that. So that's what that other cost is for, but I put it out as a total cost because the engineers will be taking care of it. But the total estimated cost for construction is gonna be $423,000, $125, somewhere in there. And then the total cost with engineering in both is about $522,000. And we've got, I looked at it today, I think it was $560,000 that we had budgeted. So we're still under. So we would recommend that you approve KSA to do this.
All right, council floor is open for any questions or?
I do have a question. So are there any other projects like this that could possibly come up that you've gotten letters from
TCEQ. There's always possibilities, but we don't have anything. This is the only one. Yes, ma'am.
Have we checked with other engineering firms? Maybe we can get it cheaper somewhere else?
Mr. Knopf, if you want to answer that question?
Certainly, I mean, we did not. I mean, you've been using KSA for quite some time. I haven't really reviewed their rates. I think they're very reasonable. I did look at all their numbers, and so I think it's the engineering firm they're most knowledgeable about our system because they've been doing it for years and years. So typically they're going to be, but certainly down the road as we look at other projects, we can be discussing using other firms or at least bidding that out to see how competitive they are.
Yes, sir.
So it's illegal for us to bid out engineering projects. So if you go out for another price after you get ours, then we have to bow out. So you'll either get the next highest or you'll get the next lowest. They give us a formula. We have a curve, fee curve, if you will. So in theory, every engineering firm is going to give you the same price. But it is based on construction. And so what I like to explain is, it's kind of like if you're wanting to design a transportation mechanism to get from here to Brookford or whatever. So we can design you a skateboard or a Cadillac. The cost is going to be different. So what you try to do is you try to get the project to be a reasonable project so that you get what you want out of it. You know, if you got a skateboard, you deal with the elements, you're doing the pushing, you're doing things like that. That's a different fee than it would be for a Cadillac. When we're doing this work out here, we're trying to do it as a reasonable price, but not over design it. So you're not getting the Cadillac, but you're getting something that's going to last 50 years. You're going to see this come up with a culvert project, pretty soon, where you're gonna consider replacing with tin horn or going back with a 6x3 concrete culvert, box culvert that'll last 50 to 70 years versus lasting 15. So that's really what you deal with. So if you go out for another bid, then we just have to bow out by the rules of the state.
I'm curious, when you said it was illegal,
The Board of Professional Engineers will take away our license if we bid.
Kelly, Kelly, they are under the Professional Procurement Act versus what these others are under the local government code for that mandates bidding on certain projects. So when you go to procure professionals like that on a particular project, it's done based on qualifications. You know, they may or may not be an engineering firm that even looks at this kind of thing. You get some, so you base it on qualifications, and then you go in and negotiate price. And that's peculiar to certain professions, but that's just the way it works.
thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any further questions on this item? Floor is open for a motion.
I make a motion that we consider the order for the Housing Authority improvements.
Do we have a second?
I second.
I have a motion made by Councilmember Hinton, second by Councilmember Redmond. Madam Secretary, record a vote, please.
Aye.
I don't mean to be picky, but does it matter that the motion was to consider instead of approve? I'm just asking for the record.
No, that's good enough. That'll work.
Aye, thank you.
Aye.
Vote is unanimous. We'll now close that item on the agenda. Our next item is, and final item will be item 7, which is our city manager's report. Mr. Nahal.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First of all, the City Hall will be closed tomorrow, or not tomorrow, right, Anthony? 4th of July, on Thursday, and just want to wish everybody a happy Independence Day. It's a great celebration. It's great to be in Mount Pleasant, I'll just say that. Just a couple quick items, Mr. Mayor. Got the 2-minute clock going, Candace, on me. So I wanted, just to say those water meters, and, we heard your example tonight of numbers going up. We'll take a look at that. But if you the conversation about the meters when they start getting old, they start not reading water that's actually going through. And so we're going to see more of this. It's going to happen that some people will start seeing higher readings because they're going to be more accurate. That just happens with age of meters. And so I think we just need to be educating and be prepared to have conversations with people and make them aware of that. I just wanted to say that I have a couple people here. David Schulteis, will you stand up real quick? So interacting Public Works Director is David Schulteis. I just wanted council to be able to know who that is for us. And we have, thank you, sir. And Becky Roseberry, you gonna get up, partner? She's interim finance director right now. So it's great, a very experienced person who's done this and come into cities a number of times. It's always great to get a fresh look from somebody at your financial books. And so thank you for being here and thank you for stepping up, David. Much appreciated. I wanted to just quickly comment. I did meet the Chamber of Commerce today, which is great, and they are a very energetic group. And I have to say, it's what the number of people who are members and the participation level is huge, being part of other communities' chambers of commerce. So congratulations to Mount Pleasant for being such an engaged business community. So introduce those two. I think that for council, a couple things that I've run up as I'm starting to really look deeper into things is the revenue bonds that we've received with new council members. There's quite the project list. It's millions and millions of dollars. We are seeing some of those come before you tonight, but I think as part of the work session of the budget, we should go back through of those because I see millions in certain projects that hopefully those are listed somewhere. If not, the city council will want to establish exactly what, a $2.2 million worth of improvements in the parks. And so I want to go back through, especially for the new members, and show that. And then there's been a lot of things going on in water and wastewater. And so I do think in August, I'd like to ask council to do a work session so we can kind of take those projects and put them all together. There's been some rate changes that have occurred, and then, you know, where are we going moving forward in those? So I do think there's a lot of things that have happened recently and that are going on now with you seeing these projects coming through. It would be good to have a work session on just utilities, pre-budget, and then we'll have other work sessions on the rest of the budget. But utilities has a lot of funding going on, a lot of borrowed money, and I think it's very important for the whole community to be aware of that, and certainly the new council members. The packets, I think that just, we got them to Thursday. We at least got you 24 more hours, council members. But for those who were watching, and for those in the audience, we also posted those on Thursday, the whole packet. So before you used to just see the agenda, now you're seeing the whole packet, so you can see what the council sees when they're deliberating these. And so hopefully that's helpful, and hopefully that is good for people to be able to be more engaged and really kind of get a better understanding of that. Then I think lastly, it's budget season. We're not in full steam there because the finance folks are really working on. Becky's trying to make sure she understands it fully. Elaine's been great. She's been the assistant finance director, and so those two have really been working hard and coming up with numbers and starting to look at where we are this year, first and foremost, to make sure we know where we stand for this fiscal year, and then certainly as we turn the corner for next year. I think that the audit, the one thing that the audit did for me is it showed that the fund balances at the end of 23 were well below what the city's policy is for percentage. It went down to 7% and the policy is 16%. So that's just a kind of a reminder that we certainly don't want it to go lower, and there's not much more room for that. And then we're going to have to certainly take a look at how we build that back on a plan put in place for that. So I'm having a wonderful time here. I'm just enjoy working with the people. It's a great staff. It's a great group of people. We have a number of them have left. Council's been very engaged to let you all know that, and they are truly concerned. So to me, community, I'll just say it's been great, and people are working hard to resolve some of the issues that you've probably dealt with in the past or certainly heard discussed, and we're just going to keep working on making them better and better and being more and more transparent. So thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Nowhoff. We certainly appreciate that report and the comments. I just want to thank everyone for coming tonight. Happy holidays to you, and be safe out there. At this time, the council will adjourn.